This is my tooling and carving bench, and I'd like to do a little demonstration here of how to cut a couple oak leaves in that piece of leather right there. It's a piece I had left over from making a saddle. And here's a practice piece I did one day. That just gives you an idea of what you can do. That's all freehand right there. And I basically just did that to be to practice, and it's just kind of fun to wet a piece of leather and just carve in a design. I've got my divider set on 1/4 of an inch right here. I'm just going to scratch a light mark right around the edge there, just like that. And then now I'll take my Berry King swivel knife with the 1/4 inch hollow ground blade, and there's a little trick to cutting this border in here. If you'll use your small 2 fingers here, if you'll use those as a guide also as well, you'll be able to cut your line in there fairly straight. Like if you had your fingers back and you try to cut it like that, it'll be more wobbly, but that sure helps as a guide right there. See, I can just cut that like that and then stop. Now this leather is wet. I wet it and kind of cased it for just a little while. It's wet on the front and back, but it's not soaking wet. If you tool your leather too wet, as it dries, the design pulls out of it. So you need to case it and get used to when it's right, you'll know. And it's good to practice. So what I'm going to do now is just kind of like freehand a couple oak leaves. One thing I do is just like, I'll take like the center of the oak leaf, just put me a center mark right there, and then I'll come back and put a center mark that way. So I'll have an oak leaf flowing this way and the oak leaf flowing the other way. So I'm just going to lightly scratch a mark right there, and then come back and move over just a little bit right there and put a mark right there. Now I'm going to fill this in with the oak leaf. And I do that. What you do is just pick up some oak leaves and study the way they're made. And usually you got the top point here and like 3 on each side, and then come down at the bottom right here and put your stem in there and something like that. This is a red oak. A bur oak has rounded ends. The red oak has the pointed ends. So I've got the first leaf drawn right there, and now I'll come back and scratch this other one in there. And it's okay if it's like each one of them is a little different. There's really no 2 oak leaves exactly alike anyway. Just kind of get the basics down. Fill your space in there with a unique oak leaf. And I've got my 2 oak leaves scratched in there. Now I need to kind of work on the stem right here. And you want to have some flow to it, like, you know, you'll get used to it. And right up here I've got room for an acorn right there. And I just scratched that little acorn in right there. And I don't really have, I'll put one right here too. I can draw that in right there. You can draw your caps different. I bring them to a point sometimes, or I round them off a little bit. So there's pretty much 2 acorns, 2 oak leaves. Now I'll just come in there and cut this design in there. I'll give you a little closer shot in just a second. And after this dries a little bit more, I'll take a craft tool beveler. I've got 3 different sizes. I'll take the smallest one and the medium sized one and do my beveling around the oak leaf. And then I'll take a bruiser and bruise up in here to give it some depth, bevel on my inside stem there, and it will kind of brighten that up and bring that oak leaf to life.